Hi, this is Linda Burton.
And this is Joseph Burton.
With Generation and Generation.
Yes.
Today we're going to talk about, I like saying monkey see, monkey do. Do you know why?
Okay.
Because what we do, our kids model. They do the same thing. So it's not just saying, don't do this, and they see us do it. It's we're not doing it and saying it.
Yeah, especially with you got your kids that are under one, like 9, 10, and they just starting to talk. Mm-hmm. So you can, if you got a habit of saying something like "woo,"
the child will do the same.
And then the child gonna start doing "woo" in their own little cute little way.
Mm-hmm. And outside of dad, and I don't know how a little one would say mommy, but they learn how to say no because that's what we're saying to them.
You're 18 months.
Yeah.
18 months, they learn how to say no.
Yeah, because they hear us say it. So they model what they see. And it's important to model what you want. And that takes some thinking about, because sometimes we forget that we're kind of under a microscope because our children are watching us at all times. I'm thinking about the joke that I've heard several times when a bill collector calls, a mom says, tells the child to pick up the phone and tell the child to tell them I'm not home. And the child will say to the creditor, my mommy says she's not home. So they model what they see because we are their first example. And it's important to exemplify what you want in your children. So if you want your children to be honest, we have to be honest. And it really kind of keeps us on our toes at all times because they're always watching, because they're curious. They're at that stage where they're very curious. And so they want to know why you're doing something. And those will be their questions. Mommy, why? Mommy, why? If they see a parent upset, especially if it's a female, and little boys do it too. If they see a mom cry or a dad sad, they pick that up and they'll come to you and do this. Mommy, are you okay? Or daddy, what's wrong? Because they see and they experience what is in front of them. So it's like we have to remember that our kids are watching us at all times. They'll even ask you questions. Mommy, why did that person do that? Mommy, what's wrong with that man? If they see someone scream in public or use profanity, and they'll say, well, that man said a bad word. And those are opportunities to teach them what's acceptable in the home and what's not, because kids will just pick up what they see in front of them.
They will. That's true, because I remember when my Javon, actually, when he was younger, because I was a video gamer, right? So I introduced him to video games and whatnot, and then I ended up playing this one game that was my favorite, and it's a shooting game, so you shoot bad guys. So I think he was about 6. I think he was about 6 years old. So I'm there playing my video game on the computer, and of course he's used to playing games, so he's watching me play. And then he said something that kind of startled me. He said, "Shoot him dead, Daddy! Shoot him dead!"
Oh wow! At 6.
Yeah, and that moved my spirit. So I put down video games, or those kind of video games, down for a few years. Until he got older. So I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I listened to the voice or my spirit inside of me, because I don't know how he would have turned out all these years later. But it was really striking, really striking. So yeah, it's a computer game. It didn't look real, but those words were real.
Mhm. Got
Right.
it. Got
Yeah.
it. And the concepts come across as being real.
Hmm.
And you can really become numb to the fact that
Right.
you're actually destroying a life or destroying a person, and there's a family that's going to go without someone.
Yeah.
You can become numb to that whole
Mm.
concept,
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
through some of the games that are, if you hang in them games long enough, you can just become numb to the reality of loss from being shot or death
Yeah.
itself.
And it's disturbing that not just video games, but a lot of entertainment. Um, you know, I'm dating myself, but years ago, if someone got shot, they would grab their, grab most of the time, because it was upper body, in the chest, they would grab themselves and they would fall down. Now it's become so graphic. People are, there's some movies where a person is not shot once, but shot multiple times. And then there's ways that we become, I want to use the word nullify. I don't know if that's
Nullified or
Desensitized.
hmm,
Desensitized.
desensitized. Yeah,
him. That
yeah,
word.
yeah. And and we don't want, because that almost becomes a person's reality. If they see it often enough, they'll think, well, they just, okay, so they died, because they haven't been maybe acquainted with death yet. So they don't know the pain that's caused from the loss of another human being. And they just cast it off as, oh, that's just a game. But if we, because me personally, I think the games are hypnotizing. You can get so entrenched in that you just, it's almost like you turn off your brain. You're not thinking anymore. You're just going through the motions. You're just, getting this one, getting this one, getting this one. And I've seen some games, not that I was looking for it, but I've seen some games where the blood, even though it's animated, the blood splatters. And I'm like, wow. So we've got to be careful what we expose our children to.
Yeah.
Because what we expose them to, especially for long periods of time, can become part of who they are.
Right.
Where, so what, the cat died, so
Mhm.
what?
I think our reaction has a big part too. Have you noticed when a child falls, they look at the parents and see if they're going to cry or not?
Yeah.
And if you say, "Oh, it's okay," or clap, or our niece came and we clapped instead and said, "Yay!" I don't know why, but she just started clapping and yay. And then if we don't and go, then she'll cry.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
They fall down. They fall down. They look at you, and then if you go, oh, then they start crying. You gotta.
Yeah, here come the tears.
I don't know why they do that. I don't know why kids do that. They look at you.
Oh yeah, because they're taking cues from you.
Right.
And that is even all basically through the young life and even into early teens, they're taking cues from you.
Mhm.
Or if it's not the parents, they're taking cues from somebody
Or somewhere.
or somewhere.
Right.
And so it's really important for us, to model a good behavior
Mhm.
or acceptable behavior that's going to get them through the world that they're going to live in.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
We want them also to develop empathy, to develop kindness, to develop good manners, to develop things that we as adults feel are important. Like when we teach a child when they're very young to say thank you, they say it because we said it. We say thank you, but they don't really understand the meaning behind thank you. That or why. I, when we say thank you, we're telling someone, I appreciate what you've done or appreciate what you said or whatever. But a child just does it because the parent says to do it. And so they need to see us model why we're thankful, because it's oh gosh, the word just escaped me. It's not, it's intangible. Saying thank you, being mannerable, those are intangible things. So when a child says that, they're saying it because the parent asked them to say it. But if we model when someone gives us something, even within the home, if a mom gives the dad food at the table and the dad says thank you, then the child learns to begin to say thank you. Anytime that they do anything, we say to them, thank you. And then it starts to connect. Their cognitive level of understanding begins to connect as they get older and as they grow.
We do it without realizing it, though.
Mhm.
Because our biggest thing, now that you said that, is greet the person when you walk in a room. Say hi. Don't just walk in a room. Even if you come home and we have company, you have just a couple of minutes before we say you didn't say hi. Even to this day, we still do that. Did you speak to so-and-so? They fully have to greet that person. We still do that, and they're grown. And we still catch ourselves
well, because it's rude not to speak, especially if you're walking right past them.
Yeah, it is rude, and it can be a sign of just a form of disrespect. And so what we're doing is modeling what respect looks like, and what not being rude or kind, what it looks like, manners. Okay. But the other thing that goes along with modeling is having meetings, like family meetings, where you actually come together and talk about why we do what we do. Because your children need to understand that there's value behind what you do, and they start to learn what value is from the parents.
And how to have courage, how to create a sense of being thankful, grateful, giving not just empathy but sympathy. When a puppy dies or a goldfish dies and the child is attached to it, that child might be very upset. And so and I think sometimes parents forget this. If you can establish, if the child is sad, then you're sad because that is your child. And so you would say, oh, Mr. Goldie, went to fish somewhere. Mr. Fish found another home, or however you do that. So they take their cues from us, and we don't realize that. One of the things that we've said in our couple coaching, what type of environment was your mate raised in? For some families, they don't get up close to one another and talk. They talk across the room. And so they raise their voice and they learn to holler, get in the house, rather than going to get the child and asking the child, okay, come in, it's time for dinner, and sometimes they get into a battle like, why are you screaming at me? And that person will say, I'm not screaming, I'm just talking. Well, why are you talking so loud? I didn't know I was loud. So people model from those that are their first impression of how to conduct themselves. And so it's important to know when you come together, who that person really is. And is this going to be a problem? Somebody can say, well, I grew up in a house where, my dad used a belt, or my dad used a paddle or whatever. And that other person will say, well, wait a minute, why do we have to use corporal punishment? Can we just get to the child's level? And this is the most effective way that they've shown in studies, is to get low where you could look that child eyeball to eyeball and tell them why you're disappointed in their behavior, why it's not okay to do certain things. So like I said, they're watching us. It's like being on television 24/7, and it can be exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember this commercial. It was this dad that I think he found a spider in the house or something.
Mm.
And instead of killing the spider, he caught the spider, and his daughter was watching, right? And I think he did it in front of her. I can't remember the commercial exactly, but anyway, he got the spider and just released it outside, right? And then the next scene, or kind of foreshadowed the next scene, the daughter was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And then it talked about, because she had guns and stuff, so it talked about, the message was the sanctity of life. So since the father chose life, even for that spider, because I know, I mean, ugh, I don't like spiders, but anyway, since he showed life, it caused her to value life a little bit. It caused her not to become callous being a soldier in the military. You know what I mean? So I forgot the transition of the message, but it was a message. The message boiled down to, since the father was it chose life in some of the things that he did throughout her childhood, that kind of impacted, impacted, but she reflected on her to be a little bit more kind and stuff, even though she has a gun, and she's a soldier. So I can't remember the exact message, but it was something to that effect.
And I really think, Joe, that's a part of the socialization for the society in which our children are going to live in. If they get the wrong socialization, it becomes a real problem.
Yeah, it can go south
Yeah,
on
it
you.
can go south real fast. And so, like, let's go back to the real simple one. Say thank you. Okay, so the child is saying thank you. First of all, they're doing it because you're telling them to do it, but then they do what they see you do, but they still don't know why they're doing it. And so it's really important to have these meetings to attach a definition to, or a reason to why we do this, and attach value to it. So we do this because in our family, we appreciate one another when they do something for us. Definition. We, and then attach value. We value, or we appreciate, or we think it's important to say to someone that's doing something for you that we appreciate.
Like, and that's very simplistic in its nature, but to give it a real tangible effect, I would say, even at the table, when we're passing, someone could say, could you pass the rolls? And when they pass the rolls, you say thank you. Because like I said, they're taking their cues from us as adults. And so it's little simple things like that when they start to make the connection. Oh, so the value of saying thank you is being appreciative. When they're very small, they don't understand appreciation.
No, they're just following you.
They're just following you. But as they grow and get older, they'll learn the value of doing things on that level. When they get to kindergarten and the teacher says, pass the books or pass the coloring sheets or whatever to the person behind you. And the teacher, a good teacher, and not saying that they're not, good at this, but a lot of teachers will also teach the things that are being taught in the home. Like, let's use our manners, let's use our words, not our bodies, and kids they'll start connecting the dots, if you will, if it's done enough times, not just in the home, but maybe when they get to school, or maybe when there's a family gathering and the family, the extended family is doing the same thing, then it'll start making sense to them. Oh, this is how you say to someone that you appreciate or you like. They may not understand the word appreciate, but that you like what they just did. And so therefore we say thank you.
And so as you develop an identity for your family, because that's part of the why we have meetings, family meetings, because what we're doing is transferring to our children our identity, so they know who they are. They know who they are as part of our family. You are a such and such you are a Burton. You're part of this family. And so as we identify who we are and our children start to learn who they are, they also begin to learn what is valuable to us, to us as a family, what is valuable to us. And I see, because the opposite of being appreciative is taking people for granted.
Right.
So there's a lot of people running around and just take things for granted, and that creates all kinds of issues, and so it's really important for our kids to grow up and learn. So now that you have given them a model of a behavior, we say thank you, then we tell them, you say thank you, and then we explain and give them definition. What does that mean? Okay, it means I appreciate you. Why do I appreciate you? Because in our family, we value what other people do for us. So now I've given you a definition and an identity and given you value to it. And then you place a rule. This is the rule in our family, because the rule connects to the value. So all of our family rules should connect to values that we have as a family.
And I'm sorry.
What helps is when you're around other family or other friends that have the same value. Because while you were saying that, I remember as a kid, we didn't have a curfew time. We had a curfew light where we knew in our neighborhood, you better come on, you better be home in the house before the street light come on.
Street light.
What we're doing outside, we could be playing ball, we could be, I don't care whose turn it is to bat or kick the ball. If you start seeing that light flicker, it's over. We didn't have to discuss it, you know what I mean? And of course, if there's going to be one kid that don't have that rule, but majority, at least on where we lived at, everybody had that rule, but one person, they're looking around like, where y'all go? What's going on? But that's the point that they picked up that value without even realizing it. They start doing it too, because they would have been outside by themselves, There's something we didn't even think of until the one person was like, what's going on? It was like, it flickered. You didn't see it?
That means it's time to head home.
You had that rule too? That rule was back in our day.
Oh yeah, we couldn't be outside in the dark. Only bad girls would be outside when it's dark, and I didn't want to be a bad girl. And I was thinking, when you were talking about in our family, if you attach the name of your family, that gives an added sense of pride. Yeah, attaching your name to what you expect of your family. Like for my husband, his father would say, flowers men do this. And it gives the child a sense of pride. I'm a Flowers. And because I'm a Flowers, this is what I do. So when children are tempted or egged on by somebody else to do something that they know they shouldn't do, they can have a sense of, we don't do that in my family. I'm a so-and-so, and we don't do that in our family. So it attaches value to who they are. And kids, once they understand who they are, the bullying is something that just doesn't sting as much because you know who you are. Your mother has told you who you are. Your dad has told you are. Like you said, your dad used to always tell you you were his baby girl or whatever he used to say. And he treated you like a little princess. And so your confidence level and your self-esteem is very high.
I'm a Medina girl.
Yeah. And so, and when kids get the sense of ownership, it's very powerful. If we tell them you are a Burton, Burton men do this. Medina women do this, Flowers men do this, whatever that looks like, so that it gives you a sense of, I don't have to do what everybody else is doing because I don't need to prove myself. And when kids get a certain age, it's all about, come on, man, come on, don't be a chicken. I'm not a chicken. I'm a Medina. I'm a Burton. So attaching value and pride to that name, I think that's a component that's missing in parenting, because parents don't know how valuable that is to give their child ownership in the family. They might be 3 or 4 or 5, but you start telling them you're a Medina or you're a Burton or you're a Flowers, whatever that looks like, that child will begin to say, hey, our name is important. Value. They attach value to it, so that when they're egged on by their peers early on, they can say no and feel good about it, walking away from temptation and walking away from not doing certain things because they know who they are, and I don't have to prove anything to anyone.
So now that I have my identity, because I know who I am, and I know that my identity is valuable. Right. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to identify with you if you're doing something crazy. Right. I don't have to do that. And I can resist you because I know I'm valuable. I don't have to prove my value to you because my value has been determined and set in motion by our family who had these meetings that they talk about. And remember now, it always starts, the bottom line of all of this that we're talking about starts with modeling, because that don't work if we don't model. And so it's modeling behavior and then introducing what we model to our children, and then telling them why we do it, or identifying that and attaching the value of it to it, so that they know that this is valuable, and taking that value and attaching that value to our identity. This family appreciates this. We do this. This is valuable to us. And so now you begin to get that, here is the rule. We say thank you. We say thank you because we value when a person does something.
Or we say, I'm sorry when we've made a mistake.
And we attach our name to it. You attach your name to it. So your child has a sense of, I'm a Burton, or I'm a Flowers, or I'm a whatever I am. That is valuable. I have value. And I have identity. I'm not looking for an identity. I have an identity.
And I think in today's culture, everyone wants to be known. And so, sometimes some entertainers we don't know them by their full name. We just know them by their one name or two letters, you know, Jay-Z. I don't even know the man's first name. But if I say it, everyone would know who I was talking about. You know, there's ways in which we identify ourselves because we've branded ourselves. And so we want to brand our children so that they feel very confident in going into a situation where they might be questioned about why they believe what they believe. You know, otherwise the bad guys win. You know, kids get sucked into gangs because there's an identity there. You know, you know, and it's crazy because they get beat down just that's the initiation. And you know, because they don't want you to punk out, and so that's what they do. And that would be the last thing we would want for our kids, to get beat down, to become identified with something that's negative.
Yep. So, you know, they've lost the sense of value. They've reinterpreted value as, you know, financial gain. They think value, it has to do with power, all those kinds of things. And that just gets them toe up from the floor and they start to make bad choices, and those choices come with consequences, and that affects their lives.
There's a passage of scripture that I want to read. It's from 1 John, the 3rd chapter and the 18th verse, and it says, "Dear children, let us stop just saying we love each other. Let us really show it by our actions." So we can't just say things and there be no modeling behind it. Whatever we say, we need to actually do what we say. You know, tell them mom's not home. You know, answering the you know, the bill collector. Tell them mommy's not home, and the kid is just going to repeat what you said to them. And then why would you be angry with them? They're just saying what you told them. They don't understand trickery. They don't understand falsehood and trying to get over on somebody. They don't understand that. That's learned behavior, but it's not the right behavior. So what we want for our kids, it's important to model it more than anything.
But even when they get older and do know and say it the right way, the parent is still teaching them it's okay to lie for this reason.
Yeah, because that's what that's doing. That's saying it's okay to lie. That particular example, it's okay to tell them mommy's not home. That's teaching them how to lie.
And yeah, in that scenario too, then the kids, it becomes a part of their nature. They don't see anything wrong in it.
Because mom said.
Right. And I could imagine they're 18, 19, 20 years old. I have met people like that in my life. They just don't have a concept that they did something wrong to you.
Yeah.
Right.
They've normalized it and don't think nothing's wrong with it.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Why, you know, and so now they don't understand.
Yeah.
So at that point, you should put the parent in jail instead of the child.
They didn't do their job. And you know what? You know, I'm so glad, and I really appreciate the fact that you and Linda have given us this platform, because we, you know, and all of us, I'm sure you guys have witnessed this too. Some parents have not taught their children. You can just tell. There has been no real parenting modeled for them, so they're doing the same thing that was done for, you know, as a child to them. Because parenting, the only manual that we really have for parenting is the Bible. I mean, you know, this is a curriculum called Family Wellness, but they have the version that's non-Christian, but then they have a version that is Christian. So when you look at how to parent or how to do relationships, it always goes back to scripture, to doing the right thing because it's the right thing. to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
Wow.
So like, we just used an example. We used the example earlier about just saying thank you. But what about a little bit more important example, like your word needs to mean something.
Mhm.
As we start to develop even more and get into more important things
Like character.
like character,
Mhm.
the same thing applies. The example, and then you giving them the instruction to do this, and then you're attaching value to why you're doing it,
Mhm.
giving it definition, attaching value to it, and then giving it identity and
Mhm.
saying we do this because our name is such and such, and your name is too, and this is our rule in this family.
Mhm.
And that it becomes so important for a child to grow up in strong values and real strong identity,
Mhm.
because that's what's going to really be pulled and tested as they start to go to school.
Mhm.
Their identity and their value, that's what's going to get tested.
Mhm.
I want to go back to, so words then, because I'm thinking, are there any empty words? I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know, I'm trying to develop this out. Is there such a thing as no empty words? Like all words have some kind of weight to it, right? And the reason I'm thinking about that, because Jesus said, for every idle word that comes out of your mouth, you will give an account. So even if somebody says those are empty words, or your words don't really mean anything,
Mhm.
they actually do. Like every word that we say,
Mhm.
has some kind of weight, even if we don't feel it,
Yes.
or even if it doesn't do anything to us, there's weight still to it.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You can tear a person down with your words.
Yes.
Have you ever, okay, not just the example of a child, but have you ever scolded a dog and that dog's head goes down
Yeah.
because of the sound in our voice? That dog's head goes down because they now understand I've done something that my owner didn't like. They can tell not just from our words, but from the tone and maybe even the volume. Same holds true for our children. When we say the wrong thing or say something that is hurtful, the child's eyes can all of a sudden become filled with tears. And all we're using are words, but those words have weight to them. And it's important that we teach our children how important words are, that you just don't say anything to anybody. You respect your elders, not just your elders, because they'll think, okay, old people, I need to respect old people. No, respect people. So when they see us do that, they're going to do it. Why? Because we're modeling it. And it's important to model what we want, not what we don't want. And those are some of the things that successful families do. And we all would like to think that we're successful, that we're doing the very best job. But I know that there are some families, and they may be listening to this broadcast, where they just didn't have the model. It wasn't there for them. And they decided, I want to do my family differently. There's some things that I just don't want to be part of my family. I decide not to use profanity. Maybe they heard profanity all growing up, not just in the immediate family, but also in the extended family. And so we think that's the norm, but it's not. So to teach, some things will be caught before they'll be taught. And so the things that kids catch from us doing something, it becomes very powerful when we're not just saying it, but we're actually doing it. And that's where modeling comes in.
Yeah, our words, like Joe was saying too, our words, even idle words, all mean something.
Mhm.
Out of the scripture tells us, out of the abundance of the heart,
The mouth
the
speaks.
mouth speaks.
Mhm.
And so words are an indication of what's in our heart.
Mhm.
We don't, may not even be thinking about it, but it's coming out of our mouth. That means it's coming from our heart.
Mhm.
Okay, we maybe
Mhm.
articulate it with our mind, but the will to say it came from the heart.
Right.
And that is the judgment of the will to do or say what we let out.
Mhm.
We don't have to say it. We chose to say it. And they remember the old saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never. That's one of the biggest lies ever told. Words hurt.
Yes, they do.
Words hurt. They break people's spirit.
Yeah, and they can bruise you to the point where you don't even believe in yourself anymore. You don't think that you have value. And a lot of people have been verbally abused where their self-esteem is so low you can scrape it with a spoon because it's at the on the floor. So what we say carries a lot of weight. And as parents, being a model of what you want in your child, you don't sit back and, oh, I hope they do this, and I hoping and wishing and dreaming, and there's nothing in that. Actually doing what you want from your children is what we'll get from our children. If we do it in a way where they can grasp the meaning behind it, not just say thank you, but actually they understand the meaning behind thank you, or the meaning behind I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I shouldn't have said that. How do they find that out? When mom and dad may have a difference of opinion and you openly apologize to one another in front of the child. And I've heard parents say, we never fought in front of our children. And that's good. But at the same time, children need to see real life. Dad got on my nerves. Mom got on my nerves. Or mom didn't cook my favorite peach cobbler. Oh, why did I use that as an example? I asked mom for a peach cobbler. Mom didn't cook the peach cobbler, so now I'm upset with her. I'm angry because I didn't get my peach cobbler. The kids need to see real life, and withholding from them real life. They'll think that being married to someone is a fairy tale. It's not a fairy tale. As good as our marriage is, we still are at odds with one another every now and then. But then we come back and we know that either our silence or our lack of, wanting to be close is not good for us. So we easily come back and, whatever it was, we apologize or say that, that didn't come out the way I wanted it to. Children need to see that as well. They need to see life.
Simple I'm sorry is the beginning of learning responsibility and accountability. And so in our meetings, we say I'm sorry. In our families, when we do something that we shouldn't have done or something that didn't work like we thought it would, we say I'm sorry. And then we attach a meaning to that. Why? What does I'm sorry mean? It means I'm making myself accountable for something I did that didn't work right.
Right.
And the value behind that is your relationship. You are more important to me than just letting it go and not thinking about it.
And the courage to speak up and say when we've done something wrong, or when we've not just said something wrong, but did something wrong. Mommy raised her voice at daddy, or daddy raised his voice at mommy. That's what those family meetings are. So that's why they're so important, because kids need to come together. And it's like being in school. Yes, you're going to school, but every now and then the teacher needs to remind you why you're in school, because you want to learn, because you want to graduate, because you want that, you want that diploma, or you want that degree. You know, we all have reasons why we do what we do.
Mhm.
And so it's important to know the reasoning behind why, but also that's important in families.
Mhm. So you have meetings, you model behavior, you have meetings, and in your meetings, you always make your meetings fun to come to. So you might have, every time we have a family meeting, we have pizza and Kool-Aid or soda, whatever that looks like. You know, so the kids are excited about coming to the meeting. Oh no, not another meeting. No, we want to make it fun.
Right.
You know, because a meeting that's they already turned off to, they don't learn nothing from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so those are kind of things Linda modeling opens the door for. You know, and of course we've kept this fairly light, but if you went into something like love can really get deep. I mean, it can really get heavy. In our family, we don't just say we love one another. We show it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's valuable. It's important to demonstrate and not just say something without something behind it. Because while empty words are judgeable, empty words do show character. They may be empty, but they're still judgeable. But they, I guess that's a word. I don't know.
Judgmental.
Well, God's going to judge them. Put it that way. Okay, but the other side of that is they do indicate character. If I'm saying words that I don't intend to do, okay, it's an indication of who I am. Okay, and so our kids need to understand our word needs to mean something.
I think we showed that without realizing it too, because I always, you know, kids get in the car from school or when you first meet them, how's your day? And there every now and then you will have a bad day and you just don't think about how their day is. You know, you're just trying to like get home, cook so you don't think it. And I remember going through a day like that, just like, you know, and I didn't ask my son, and all of a sudden he goes, "So mom, how was your day?"
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So every time you know, like I always did it. And the one time it was just a heavy day, you know, just like one of those days. And so then he started doing it, you know, and he picks up that habit. And he did it the way I do it. It's not just asking, it's waiting for a response and responding, oh, and repeat something or let them know you heard them or you know, relate with them. So
good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a start of or an indication of empathy. I'm trying to get what it's like to be you.
Right. Yeah.
So all of those social skills help children when they grow up to deal with a fishbowl of all kinds of people in the world that they got to stay here in the world with.
Right. I was thinking too, parents would model this, but also it would be maybe even thought of to be discussed in the family meetings to, you know, if the boys are older, if they're old, you know, the brothers are the oldest, you look out for your sister. You don't let anyone come around, try to bully her or make fun of her or anything. You step in, and again, this is where your family name is tied in. You know, and they might, you're a sissy, you know, you're taking up for your sister. No, I'm a so-and-so, and my sister matters to me, and walk away. So attaching that name, it adds value to who they are as a person, and to have character and to have courage and the things that really matter as they grow and develop and move away. You know, my husband, and I'm sure it's the same with you, Joe, if he sees someone struggling, an older woman or an older man, he always addresses them as sir or ma'am, showing respect. That's another thing that we want our children to learn, is to respect others and to respect themselves, so that they don't get sucked into doing things that somebody say, oh, you're just a punk, you're sissy or whatever. No, I'm a flowers. And walk away. It's one of the things that I teach in parenting, is your child needs to know who they are, and they need to be almost indoctrinated into who they are, so that when someone tries to egg them into doing something that they don't really feel good about, they can feel good about the fact that this is who I am, and I don't have to engage in that kind of activity. I don't have to be lured into
We don't do this.
yeah, we don't do this. We don't have to do this, because I know who I am. So attaching that name means a lot.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It is. I think even today it's probably even tougher, Joe, as families are single parent families now, and that gets more and more single family parents, and the fact that the absence of the father in the home, for whatever those reasons are,
Mhm.
it becomes really hard for kids. It's hard for them to find identity and value in truth, or things that are important. They tend to, because they don't have family ties, they tend to group with each other,
Mhm.
and they have group ties, and those group ties are quite often based off of feelings and not value. Their values are coming from feelings and not truth.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, and that's rough there.
That
That's
can get
rough.
ugly.
Yeah, as
Fast.
you in a car going 100 miles an hour on the freeway, going the wrong way with a blindfold on.
Ooh.
You're just waiting. It's just a matter of time. you know,
Yeah, it isn't.
that's an accident going fast to happen.
Yeah, not if it happens. Going to happen.
Wow.
Yes. So,
Good stuff. Any last questions that you want to ask, or anything else you want to say? This has been good as always. So we titled this one, "Oh, Monkey See, Monkey Do." Is that what it's going to be? Is that what we titled it?
Kathy, what is the title?
What did you say? What did you say?
I think it was powerful parenting.
Powerful parent. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you can put Monkey See, Monkey Do in your description. So yeah.
Hey, all right.
all right.
Yeah, powerful parenting. Because as parents, you do have power.
You're right.
Yeah. And if we do it the way that our kids need us to do it, we will have done a good job. There's nothing worse than a parent asking themselves before that child leaves home officially, or gets of age, where they're crossing over, to ask themselves, did we teach them everything that we should have or could have? Did we teach them enough? Did we and I'm sure even after parents do as much as they can, they'll always have those questions. I wished we had more time, because time just it's gone before you know it. And your baby was a baby, and now your baby's not that high. Your baby is maybe looking over you, where they can kiss you on the top of your forehead.
Talking about, oh, mom.
Yeah, I remember saying, man, we glad these kids grow up, But it's like, you know what? You don't know. I didn't realize what I was really saying. There's a lot to that. Because one, if they get older, I get older.
Yeah.
Two, like you're saying, man, time has flew by. And I coulda and I shoulda. Man, I wish I would have. Right? But it's late now. 'Cause it's
Oh,
gone.
yeah.
Yep. You
So,
do what you can. You give them what you can give them, and I hope they're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
You know.
And, you know, have that leaving the nest conversation, you know, letting that child know, I tried to do everything right by you. I did the best that I could. I hope that you are ready to get out there and be on your own. And, you know, because kids, when we've done that, a child will come back and say, Dad, thank you for those talks. Or Mom, thank you for teaching me how to do whatever, how to treat myself rather than wait for a man to treat me. You know, having that self-worth and feeling confident about who you are and not waiting for someone else to do it.
And that's the best feeling, because both of our boys have done that at different times. Saying that one, you know, took the time to write it, one verbally said it. And the neat thing is, when you get to that level, it doesn't stop. Like we do every other month family day, you know, just even if it's just eating a dinner together, of just being able to come together and brainstorm whatever you're going through. What are you going through? What's going on in your life? You know, and get together just to continue doing that. And them asking for our opinion. What do you think about this?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
When a child comes back and asks, Mom, what would you do? Dad, what would you do?
That's
or
good.
would you have done it differently? Then you know you did good.
You did good. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Very
good.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
gold right there.
Yeah. Gold standard.
Mhm.
Gold standard. It's been nice and fun as always. We really appreciate you guys taking your time out of your busy schedules, because I know you're busy, right? I know you're busy all week, and so we thank you for sitting down with us, sharing this wisdom, this enlightenment, and we're thankful.
All right.
We certainly enjoy
It's our
it.
pleasure.
Yeah, we
It's our
certainly
pleasure.
enjoy it, Joe.
And thank you for the platform in order to do this.
Well, until next time, we will see you later, and we want your life to be good. That's it.
That's it. We want your life to be good.
Yes, yes. Okay, you guys. Thank you again.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.